Well, we're about an hour away from President Biden's speech in Orange County, California, where he'll try to convince Americans how his administration is lowering their cost of living. And it comes on the heels of the latest report yesterday that shows inflation went up again in September. Here's what the president said about that yesterday.
Today's report shows, though, some progress. Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months. That's progress, but a lot of it is a result of getting the cost of living at the gas pump down by more, not even in California now, by more than $1 nationally.
And by the way, the average cost of gas in California today is $6.15. But according to him, there's nothing to see here. Joining us now is former Trump senior economic advisor, Steve Moore. Steve, welcome to the show. All right, Biden there saying the inflation report yesterday shows progress. Then we have economists, even liberal economists, who are sounding the alarm on our economy, saying we're not doing so well. So who's right here?
Well, by the way, great to see both of you guys in person at that wonderful IWF gala the other night. So it was fun to see you all in person, not on the TV screen. Right. Look, this is a disaster. As you know, Sean, when Trump left office, we had inflation, what was it, 1.5%? And in 21 months, he's taken it from 1.5%, Biden, to somewhere near 8.5%. The numbers are not getting better. They're getting, if anything, they're getting a little bit worse. Gas prices are headed up again because now you have the Saudis talking about driving the price of oil back up to $100 a barrel, which is the equivalent nationwide of $6 a barrel, a gallon. And by the way, in California, it's going to mean $8 a gallon. And did I hear you correctly to say that Biden is in California talking about how he's lowering prices when every price of everything in California is through the roof? I mean, that's comical.
So, Stephen, the thing that I find so funny is that he uses the word progress. And the only thing that I can see he's actually doing, and the only thing he points to, actually, he did this in this CNN interview the other day, was the Inflation Reduction Act and then obviously the infrastructure bill. That's just federal spending, right, in terms of policy. So what effect is all of this federal spending actually having? Because I've always heard from economists that this is actually attribute to causing inflation.
Yeah, look, this is not complicated, Sean, and I think most Americans get this. Since Biden has come into office, he has spent $4.1 trillion, not billion, $4.1 trillion on additional spending. This is easily the most fiscally reckless president in your and my lifetime, if not in American history. No other president that I've seen in my lifetime, I'm 62 years old, even comes close to the damage that Joe Biden has done to our country's finances. Now, they borrowed that money and they printed that money, Sean. So if you saturate the economy with cheap dollars, guess what? That's going to cause inflation. You don't have to be a PhD in economics to understand that. I'm only surprised that any economist didn't see that coming. And so there's no slowdown in the spending. And by the way, I call this in my latest column that I wrote, the new virus around the world is out of control government spending. And Sean, when Republicans come back and take over the control of definitely the House and hopefully the Senate, I want them to be, job number one is to start cutting government spending. It's the only way to get the inflation down. You're so right about that.
Okay, so I do want to ask you about that because yesterday Biden also said this about Democrats. Listen.
If Republican wins, inflation is going to get worse. It's that simple.
Okay, so saying Democrats need to stay in power because if you vote in Republicans, it's going to be worse for you. Sorry, America, don't vote them in. Republicans actually think that they have the tools. So how much is on the Fed and how much is on actually what Congress can do? If Republicans get in, can they help?
Right. It's a great question. I think we focus way too much on what the Fed is doing, and the Fed can only try to counteract the massive spending that we were just talking about. But you know, when the Fed raises interest rates, that slows down the economy. So that's not the greatest inflation reduction tool. It gets back to you got to take a hatchet, a chainsaw to that budget and start cutting all of this excessive spending. If that doesn't happen, you're not. It doesn't matter how much the Fed raises interest rates; they're going to have a hard time draining all of that money out of the economy. You know, when you look at this new study that we just did at the Heritage Foundation, that finds that not only are people's wages and salaries down relative to inflation by about $4,000, but look at what this is doing to people's retirement savings. The average 401k plan in just the last year is down $35,000 for a person. Why would any senior citizen, by the way, anybody over the age of 65 would be crazy to vote for the Democrats? The Democrats are ruining your lifetime savings. It's vaporizing under Biden policies. I don't know how well Republicans are doing with seniors, but I don't see why the senior citizens would vote for Democrats when they've ruined their nest eggs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the real estate market's taking a hit. Your 401's kicking in a hit. Interest rates are up. Inflation's high. It's a pretty simple argument. Steve Moore, thank you very much. Great seeing you at that dinner the other night. What a fantastic 30th anniversary of the Independent Women's Forum put on. So it was great seeing you there. Have a great weekend.